was ruled out. It was, Tuilola here ran behind where Logan Tompkins had basically stood in the line of Morgan Knowles, but so prevented Morgan Knowles from having a clean run at Tuilola here. Alan, did you have any objections from a neutral standpoint with the obstruction call?
Not after I've seen it back. No, he's clearly Tompkins is clearly impeding Knowles, so I have no issue with it being ruled out. And unfortunately, that's the danger when you've got when you're doing things on the fly and players around you don't know where you're going to be. It's not Tompkins' fault that Lolohea was there. It was just unfortunate. Unfortunate that he just happened to be in the way, and you could argue that Knowles kind of made sure that the referee noticed it, but it was obstruction, so I have no issue with it being ruled out.
Yeah, me neither. I think at the time even you were kind of a little bit on the fence about it, and I was like, well, no, he was stood in the defensive line and they went right through that hole. But Salford were not put off by this, they were spurred on by this, and they actually found themselves in good field position again, and they ran it on the last tackle. Interplay between the two halfbacks after some broken play. Lolohea got it out to the left. There was a tackle. Hastings and Lolohea passed it between them and set Jake Bibby through to score a try to make it 12 points to 4. Eventually, Inu converting 12.6. Now, Alan, I need to bring you in before I bring you in on this, David, because something happened with this piece of scoring for Salford.
Yes,
not the try. The try was very well worked. Arguably, it was a forward pass from Hastings back into Lolohea before it went back out, but it was marginal.
All right.
But it was marginal, and we want to see tries scored, don't we? That's what we always say on this show. But what was the thing that happened that we were like, are we going out of our minds here?
When Inu kicks the ball, the post lit up.
No.
They absolutely did.
They did.
I am not. I shit you not. Yeah.
And they didn't for any other kick in the game. We were like, did we?
So we were playing the devils
in the game,
then.
The more me and Alan were like, it did happen that time though, didn't it? It's not just because we had a few beers. It did happen.
I'm going to have to watch this back again.
Well, when you watch it back, obviously the camera's behind the post, so you can't see it. But if you pause it, as I did,
yeah, I
definitely see the green.
There's definitely a bit of light, is there?
There's definitely like a green. You can see the green strip. Now, I don't know whether they're testing something for next year. No idea. But it only happened once, and it only obviously happened at that end.
Sounds a bit Area 51 to me, this chaps, but I'll take your word for it.
It happened. It definitely happened. But no one else around us seemed to notice it.
It was a hell of a kick, by the way, under a huge amount of pressure.
Yeah, it was.
That was a magnificent kick to kick that off the touchline, and it was a lovely move. As soon as when the ball went, I didn't at all think there was a forward pass, but I was behind the sticks. By the way, I was shouting for 2 obstructions in the Lolohea disallowed try. I just wish he'd got up to the video ref, because it would have been clear to everybody rather than having a sort of post-match argument about it. But as soon as the ball went to Lolohea and he turned it back, you could see quite clearly we were done. I mean, it was a nice dummy in the end for Bibby to get back past Makinson, but it was a clear 2-on-1. Going to happen any time. It was a really, really nice piece of play, and what a flipping conversion that was. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and I think at that stage, Salford were having their best spell of the game. Not only did they score their only points of the game, but they were moving up the field a bit better, like you say. They were starting to get some offloads going. And I said in the afternoon, I said, like, Salford can't go into this the way they played Wigan. They can't go set for set with St Helens. They can't just hope to not make any errors like they didn't against Wigan and think they can win this. They have to put Saints under some more pressure than what they did in the Wigan game, where they were able to just wait for Wigan to make mistakes. This St Helens side, you can't trust that they're going to make mistakes because they've been so good all year. And so when Salford did throw a bit of caution to the wind, they looked a lot better, and they were executing to a high standard as well, because they've been playing well. So they should have trusted those instincts.
Yeah.
They've been playing well.
And their offloading game. Their offloading game was what really helped them to get back in it. They were starting to get their arm out of the tackle and making us make sort of double tackles around the centre of the field, and that's what gave them a lot of the field position. And you could see their energy levels. Yeah, there
was a lot of Evil's sort of half breaks, weren't there, skirting around?
Yeah. And you could see their energy levels and the confidence levels went up. And I thought they played really well during that 15 minutes before half-time. And then just after half-time, I thought the first three sets after half-time, I thought they were on top again from a territorial perspective. I thought they were certainly matching us stride for stride at that stage.
Yeah, Alan, you picked out the Zeb Tyre try for the sort of highlight moment of the game for you. I thought the scrum play was fantastic, and I've not really seen that sort of thing executed like that before with that inside pass, like David said. But I actually think the Mark Percival try was a highlight moment in this game. There's a lot of talk about being scared of kicking on the last and small in goals and risking a 7 tackle set against a quality opposition and all of that. But Percival has ran these lines so often and almost always passes it or succumbs to a tackle. I don't think we've seen him kick it very many times, and he spotted the fullback wasn't there, he put the kick through, he backed himself, and he nailed it. And I thought it was a brilliant piece of individual skill from one of our game's top players.
Yeah. And even if he'd got caught up, even if he'd been tackled off the ball or something like that, Amor would have scored. Because Amor was right there.
Or if the fullback was in position, the kick was weighted as such that it would have been a repeat set. It would have.
Yeah, it was going to stick, wasn't it? Yeah. It was a very very cute piece of play, definitely.
So up to this point in the game, I don't think anyone doubted that St Helens have been better and deserved to have an 18-6 lead. I don't think that the Salford fans really thought there were any huge decisions that went against them. They just felt cumulatively, like all fans do, that we were always made to go back 10 and they were always allowed to be offside. Because that's what that's how fans see the game.
All fans think.
And I don't think the Salford fans around us were moaning about the obstruction. They weren't calling into question any of the real decision making, other than just a general feel that they would have liked some offsides to go their way. That's
to be fair to them, it took them about 2 minutes to realise that they hadn't scored the Lollahea try. It was a gradual dawning realisation on them, but yeah, afterwards there wasn't much mourning. It was more explanation than anything else.
And then St Helens got the penalty to go 26 up. I don't think anyone had any objections with that either. If I'm right, that was the penalty, the high shot from Gil Dudson on.
Yeah, that was a Gil Dudson one, which is a slam dunk penalty. Yeah.
So no objections there. Following that, I think, is where the game started to change a little bit. There was the 40-20, brilliant play by Joey Lussick to get some attacking position.
That was a hell of a kick as well.
It was brilliant, it was. And from that play, though, the next play was Gil Dudson took the ball in. Young Aaron Smith was wrapped all around his waist as he got up to play.
Well, he got caught. He got caught trying to get back.
And live, this was the decision that Salford fans really started to blow up about, wasn't it?
Yes. And it's funny because live, my instinct was he hasn't regained his feet. He's just kind of tried to play it back too quickly.
Overbalanced, yeah.
That was my impression. It's only on replay that I see that Aaron Smith is basically impeding him massively, and it should have been a penalty.
What happens, I think, is Dudson, instead of being too quick like we thought live, he actually won the ruck and deserved to be that fast. Was very good at getting to his feet, and Smith stumbled over him and pulled him down, didn't he? Really. Smith
got his knee. I think Smith got his knee in front of Dudson, and Dudson fell over Smith's leg as he was trying to play the ball. Live, I said I thought it was a penalty for Salford.
Yeah,
but having watched the game back now, I think there is an explanation as to why he gave it as he did, because there are 3 play the balls earlier in the game. Dudson was 1 or 2 of them, I think, and the other one was Mossop, where Salford were coming forward off the mark in tackles into retreating tacklers, wanting penalties for interference, and you could hear Kendall say, "No, you're moving off the mark." So I think there was a bit of history in there that led Kendall to feel that Dudson was moving off the mark into a retreating player, and that's what caused the problem, and that's why he gave it the way he did. Personally, could have easily been a penalty.
This was in a period as well where there was is it a ball strip, is it a knock-on? Well, went both ways. And the one for St Helens was called as a ball strip, and St Helens got the penalty, and it was a ball strip. The one for Salford was called as a knock-on.
And it was a ball strip.
It was probably a ball strip. But
it was.
But that's another one where live I was like, but it's Adam Walker who's got the ball in his hands. He tries to offload. He always tries to offload. He does. So,
in fact, that's exactly what I just said.
Yeah. So I kind of, maybe there was previous in his head. That's one of the difficult things.
Yeah.
Because I've been calling out recently at Wigan games, Liam Marshall now, no matter what he does, can't get a fucking penalty to save his life because people have decided he dives a bit when he's getting impeded so often when he's trying to get fast play of the balls that if you see Jerry McGilvery do it, he gets a penalty given, but you see Liam Marshall try and do the same thing, get up and play it fast, and they're saying no because there was a couple of times where people said he's dived there, so he's not. So now refs aren't giving him penalties, and maybe that worked against Adam Walker here. That people know he likes to offload.
Might have done. I mean, I think there are the 50-50s these, and sometimes they go your way and sometimes they don't. I think what happens is when teams lose, the 50-50s that went against the losing side become prominent in the discussion. The 50-50s that go against the winning side are not moaning because we don't care.
Well,
but
usually
and they're not so.
Usually more 50-50s.
It's not a problem.
Usually more 50-50s go for the side that's on top of the game physically, and for most of this game, St Helens were on top of it physically. Yeah. And also, usually when a 50-50 goes against the side that's on top, something else will go for them pretty quickly afterwards. So. A big 50-50, in fact it wasn't a 50-50, it was a wrong decision by the ref. You should have had a 6 to go on the last tackle. But what happened was they missed it, they missed the touch from Salford, but the kick that went up, Evans knocked it on, the Salford player in front of him caught the ball, so it was a penalty.
And he was offside,
so you took the 2. So very quickly, the decision that
you got back
wasn't in your favour was very quickly... flipped around again because you were on top.
Came back in our favour.
And I've always said this, most 50-50s go to the team on top because they're the ones that look like they're doing the right thing.
They're pushing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's right, Mark. I do think there is something in my point about, winners are grinners, so you don't tend to moan about the things that have gone against you. I mean, I think there were a few things in the game which if Saints hadn't won the game, we'd have been having a bit of a chin scratch about. But again, there were 50-50s, a few high shots, a few leg pulls to slow us down in the tackle, the forward pass that was given against Farge to McCarthy Scarsborough, whereas live I thought there's no way that was forward when we were inside the 20. But when you've won, you don't really care about those things. So... it's just one of the. I think the only decision I saw that I thought that's absolutely definitely wrong was the shoulder charge from Nakama.
Yes, and that happened in this period as well,
which was a clear penalty for Salford. Yeah,
that happened in this 10-minute period, I think, between the Coop penalties, which was the period where the Ashworth tackle was maybe just a bit before it as well, where he caught the chin of. Inu when he went in a third man in, and everyone didn't like the head rubbing on the floor, but it's not going to hurt anyone.
Nothing. Well, Dudson did exactly the same thing later on, so but there was no trainer on, so no one got to look at it, and there was nothing in it. So but the Nakama thing was definitely a pen, I thought.
See, I don't agree with that. I think Inu surprises Nagama a little bit, and to me, Nagama's not quite expecting the contact.
We're back to this conversation that we had after Magic Weekend, aren't we?
Yeah.
With what you say, with that sort of